Tales from the road and beyond, a musician's encounter and more, a chilling tale from a bar in South Dakota. For nearly 40 years, I've played country music in bars from Louisiana to Michigan, loving the music and the people. After a gig in a college town in South Dakota at a spot called the Rusty Spur, I stayed late with my drummer, Tom, chatting with locals until 2 a.m. An old-timer sat beside me, praising our set. We talked about life on the road, and he asked if we ever broke down in remote areas. I mentioned our driver carried a pistol for safety, joking about hoping he wasn't a Fed. He laughed, assuring me he wasn't, then shared a dark story. Living alone in a large house after losing his family in a car accident, he faced a meth-driven crime wave. Addicts repeatedly targeted his home, stealing an AC unit while he was at work. Fed up, he stayed up nights on his porch with a shotgun. One night, 2 intruders approached. He fired a warning shot, but they shot back, vowing to return and kill him. The sheriff, stretched thin, advised him to leave temporarily. Instead, the old-timer rented a moving truck, tampered with its lock to trap intruders, and filled it with fake electronics as bait. 3 armed addicts fell for it, climbing inside. He slammed the door, trapping them. They panicked, shooting and trying to escape, but the truck was secure. He taunted them, leaving them without food or water for 3 days. Starving and desperate, they turned on each other, killing one another in a frenzy. When he returned, the sheriff found their bodies, assuming it was a drug-fueled accident. The old-timer admitted to me he rigged the lock, proud of their suffering, laughing as he described their pleas. His cruelty, letting them starve and lose their minds, chilled me. While they deserved punishment, his glee at their torment revealed a darkness I couldn't unhear. A mentor's nightmare at the farm. As a reckless youth, I got hooked on painkillers, landing me in trouble. I chose a state rehab program called The Haven, a working farm over jail. It turned out to be a blessing, teaching me discipline through hard work, like tending crops and livestock. I made lifelong friends and gained self-belief. After 9 months, I became a livestock supervisor and mentor, assigned to guide new arrivals. My mentee, Tara, arrived resistant but warmed up over weeks, showing progress in her attitude. One day, 2 cops arrived, looking for Tara. She had a warrant from another county. Fearing she'd run, I offered to break the news gently, knowing how police once triggered my own anxiety. I found her in our dorm, and she was devastated, unaware of the warrant. I convinced her it might be minor, like a missed court date, and that facing it was better than running. She agreed, but as we approached the cops, she slipped back, pulling a knife to my throat. Frozen, I pleaded as she backed us away, ignoring the cops' orders to drop the weapon. Kids gathered, watching in chaos. I warned her she'd be caught or killed, but she screamed she'd escape while they saved me. As she yelled, "I'm sorry," a cop shot her through the head. She fell, dead instantly, a bullet through her brainstem. I was nicked but unharmed, collapsing in hysteria, trying to revive her. That day haunts me. I know she had to die for me to live, but I wish daily she'd chosen differently. A football game night turned terrifying. I rediscovered my love for football years after my dad passed when I was in 10th grade, bonding over games with friends. Last year, at 27, my friend gifted me NFL tickets, my first game since childhood. Our town lacks a team, so we drove 3 hours to the stadium. I booked an Airbnb nearby to relax post-game, while my friend and his wife planned to drive home. The game was thrilling, but in the 4th quarter, with the score tied, the crowd's frenzy led to someone bumping me, spilling my beer on the man in front. He berated me despite my apology, but we both returned to the game, which our team won. At my cozy Airbnb on the town's outskirts, I ordered pizza and crashed after midnight. A strange noise woke me, small objects, like pebbles, hitting the house. I turned on lights, checked a window, and saw nothing. Anxiety drove me outside to investigate. Finding only a few rocks in a wooded area, I dismissed it as nerves. Returning, I froze through the lit windows. I saw a hooded figure creeping through the kitchen, rifling through my bag and wallet, taking nothing. He searched frantically, opening doors and closets. I hid behind a tree, called 911, and watched as he fled through a window when police arrived. The cops took my statement, but the intruder escaped. The owners were baffled. My friend later suggested it might be the angry fan from the game, matching the figure's build and team colors, though it seemed improbable. The uncertainty lingers, a haunting reminder of unseen dangers. Urban encounters and personal journeys. Liverpool and beyond a strange morning on Greenfield Lane. I once lived on Greenfield Lane near Willow Avenue in Liverpool, with my local Tesco on Elm Street as my go-to for groceries. My flat was in a converted Georgian mansion at the top of the road, near Royal Gardens, stunning old homes, once home to the city's elite, now split into multiple apartments. Admiring their architecture was fine, but lingering felt intrusive, so I kept moving. Some mansions had new purposes, like a daycare or a pet clinic, though I never dug deeper. One morning, groggy at 7 a.m., I walked to St. Mark's Station with earbuds in, podcast playing, and coffee in hand. Halfway down, I noticed a man standing still on the pavement, possibly waiting for a ride. As I passed, he mumbled something I couldn't hear over my podcast. I stopped, removed my earbuds, and asked who he was addressing. He was looking right at me. Without answering, he continued, saying, "They're all burning in a single heap, more each day." My sleep-addled mind took a moment to process his oddity. I muttered, "Okay," in a cautious tone, and hurried on. It didn't scare me, just struck me as bizarre. By the office, buried in invoices, I forgot it until my commute home. He wasn't there that evening or for 2 months. Then, one morning, he reappeared in the same spot, now with 2 women in their 50s or 60s, seemingly reading from small books and whispering. I crossed the street for space and caught his eye. He smiled, but I looked away. Days later, I realized they were outside the clinic, named something like Rose Health Center. Not a vet, but an abortion clinic. They were praying. I learned such protests are intense in the US, less so here. His burning comment likely referred to aborted fetuses in hell, which sent a shiver through me once I connected it. He was later arrested, possibly for harassing passers-by, which felt wrong given their distress. Quiet prayer across the street seems fine, but his words crossed a line. A fishing friendship turned dark. My childhood involved frequent moves upstate New York, Connecticut, then San Diego with my mom's partner, and finally Portland, Oregon, with my uncle at 12, staying until 18. Portland had its perks, but I hated it initially due to one man. Days after arriving, I biked the street and met a boy my age, Kyle, carrying a moving grocery bag. He showed me fish he'd caught that day. Unfamiliar with fishing, I was amazed he'd eat them. We bonded, and he taught me to fish with homemade rods at a local pond. That summer, we fished often, his mom frying our catches with sides. Later, Kyle found a bigger pond, a longer walk, but promising larger fish. We knew locals could be territorial, and soon a gruff man in his 50s, balding with a paunch, challenged us, asking if we had permission. Kyle argued it wasn't his land, but the man threatened to call police. Then a second man, tall and slim with combed hair and a sweater, approached, claiming it was his land and we were welcome. The first man grumbled off. The sweatered man, Mr. Ellis, said it was public land, buying us time. Impressed by Kyle's rods, he'd later bring baked goods or soda, sometimes joining us. One day, he asked about girlfriends. We had none, just crushes. His advice to follow our hearts felt wise. Without a steady father, I valued him, especially when Kyle visited relatives. Alone, I fished with my own rod, wary of bullies due to my size and stutter. Mr. Ellis once asked about my family, my moves. Absent dad. His silence when I mentioned moving again felt off, and he left abruptly. The next day, he apologized, sharing his unstable childhood, offering to be chosen family. I politely agreed, though it felt routine. Later, asking about his kids' 2 daughters grown and gone, I saw why he liked us. One Saturday, he revisited the family idea, asking if I'd accept him as a father figure. I agreed, but he grew strange, linking family love to touch. Tense, I realized his intent as he asked to touch me. I fled, numb, spilling the story to my mom, who told my uncle. The sheriff intervened. Mr. Ellis moved away. We were told it was safe to fish again, but I mourned the fake kindness, losing trust in adults for years. A lecturer's shocking discovery. For 20 years, I taught at a university, meeting great and challenging students. One international student, from a country I won't name, stood out as the hardest unlike his respectful peers. He smirked at my name, Maria, implying his homeland wouldn't respect a female professor. I countered with "when in Rome" for a passing grade, but his tone was mocking. As grades required effort, he soured, skipping lectures. I didn't mind initially, but a colleague's shock revealed his arrest by local police for kidnapping, false imprisonment, and assault. A week before, a Taiwanese student vanished after a date with him. Her friends reported her missing after 48 hours. Police traced her phone to his flat. With a warrant, they found her tied up, beaten with a cigarette lighter. His claim she was his property. It sparked an international uproar. Her family pushed for justice. He paid compensation, was deported with a lifetime ban, avoiding prison. The diplomatic maneuvering sickened me. His wealth trumped punishment for such brutality. A long-distance love story begins. In 2009, at 22, my childhood friend Mark met a girl, Emma, on a social platform, unusual then, normal now. We teased him about catfishing, but Emma was real, and they clicked. 18 months later, he moved to Brighton, 7 hours from our Durham hometown, to be near her. Without a car, visits were rare. Living with her family, he rented a flat outside the city, working as a kitchen assistant to save. His relationship thrived, but her unemployment delayed cohabitation. His flatmate seemed nice, though Mark shared little vague replies about his job or interests. We chalked it up to his new life, happy he was settling. Escaping chaos and unexpected turns a tense weekend in Brighton. About 6 weeks later, Mark invited us to Brighton for a weekend. Around 23 or 24, money was tight for hotels, but Mark insisted we crash at his place. We drove down Friday morning, arriving late afternoon, and found his flat near Haven Park without trouble. A friend honked outside, and we had a joyful reunion in the parking lot 2 months apart, felt long. Inside for tea, we noticed Mark looked pale, thinner, and exhausted. His flat was a mess. I asked if he was up for drinks, noting his peaky look. He sighed deeply, admitting the past 2 weeks were his toughest. His flatmate, Liam, started as a decent guy but revealed a darker side. The flat's state stemmed from Liam's refusal to clean, and Dean was misled during a pristine viewing, with Liam absent, possibly a landlord-Liam scheme, though they despised each other, both benefiting from Mark's rent. Mark hadn't expected a mentally unstable alcoholic prone to violent outbursts, not paying rent and threatening police action. Liam's initial warmth sharing beers and music masked his constant drinking and theft-based income. Shoplifting, burglary, robbing drunks. 2 nights prior, Mark found Liam high on synthetic cannabis, swinging a replica samurai sword in slow motion. Mark locked himself in his room, enduring loud industrial metal and Liam's tantrums, screaming, kicking walls. Liam's hygiene was poor, and he'd tried climbing into Mark's bed, forcing locked doors. Mark needed a discreet escape after a blow-up over a minor dispute, where Liam demanded a fight. That's why we were there. Nervous after hearing about the sword, we planned a Sunday move when Liam would steal for drug money. As we agreed, keys jangled, Liam was back. Mark shrank as Liam entered, a tattooed metalhead with dyed hair and a nose ring, removed for thefts. Surprisingly friendly, Liam welcomed us, suggesting a party with girls and drugs. Mark suggested a pub tour to escape. Outside, we grilled him. Why a party with a volatile addict? Mark said it'd drain Liam's cash, forcing a Saturday spree, easing our Sunday move to his girlfriend's mom's garage. Scared and isolated, Mark needed us. That night, with beers and Liam's girlfriend, a manipulable, dopey type, we guarded Mark. Liam grew aggressive with drugs, pressuring Mark to use cocaine, which he reluctantly did, shocking us. Liam's obnoxious rants peaked when he blasted loud music, dancing roughly, choking his girlfriend. She elbowed him, sparking a fight. We restrained Liam as she fled to his room. I called police, who arrested him after he attacked them, giving us 24 hours to move Mark safely. We celebrated Sunday, but I worry for Liam's girlfriend, locked in with her abuser despite our pleas. A chilling basement encounter. In high school around 2009, I loved basketball, playing with the same guys for years. As seniors, we chased playoffs, the town buzzing after a big win, one victory from a sectional title. 6 days before the game, our coach, unusually, scheduled a scrimmage to test us against a statewide all-star team, risking injury but boosting our edge. Played Thursday at a neutral gym in a rundown area. We changed in a freezing, dim basement, creepy despite lights, which I jokingly noted. Teammates laughed off my paranoia as we prepped, shining weak phone lights on junk-filled corners. Post-loss, after the coach's talk, most left, leaving me and a friend. A loud crash froze us. Against my will, we checked it, finding a disheveled, angry man in his 30s. His guttural scream sent us running. He grabbed me, falling with me, but I escaped to the parking lot, yelling. Coaches and police arrived. The head coach was cut by a blade tackling the man, who smiled blankly when cuffed. Years later, the coach revealed their initial doubt, the attack, and the assistant's save. Unidentified, likely drug-addled, the man's presence haunts me. A father's fright at a reunion. A lifelong sports lover, I excelled in college football, earning a scholarship but not NFL potential. Post-career, I did local ads and signings, then built a successful life with my wife and daughter. My greatest joy. 2 years ago, I attended my college town's new facility event, reluctantly bringing my daughter for a daddy-daughter day. Dreading booster chats, I focused on her, noticing a man side-eyeing me, shadowing from afar. She enjoyed the tour and mascot photo, but during a dean chat, she vanished. Spotting her 50 feet away with that man, I rushed, scooped her up. She was fine, smiling. The well-dressed donor stammered excuses. I threatened police, berating the dean. He slipped away amid chaos. I reported him, then took her for ice cream, stressing safety. No follow-up came, but her safety eased my fears. A new roommate in Brooklyn. After a bitter 2017 breakup, I moved out October 1st, staying in a hotel while apartment hunting, rejecting shared flats. Rising costs forced compromise. Then I met Lars, seeking a roommate for his Brooklyn 2-bedroom stunning warehouse style with new fittings. His ad noted night work, needing daytime silence perfect for my new home office. We met. He was a tall, reserved Estonian filmmaker, sober vegetarian, fine with my meat or alcohol. The place and terms felt ideal, unsettling nights and arena tensions. A roommate's strange project in Brooklyn. Lars didn't mind my habits as long as I stayed quiet during the day. Joking if he was a vampire got no laugh, just a flat, "No, I'm vegetarian." My humor didn't ruin things, and with 3 months' rent up front, I moved in the next Monday after 7 p.m., settled by the following day. Lars was like a ghost, silent as promised. We'd go days without crossing paths, especially if I ran errands when he left for work. The kitchen stayed spotless, but I'd find his vegetarian meals prepped in the fridge overnight odd, but not a real issue. For 8 weeks, I thrived in my quiet, minimalist workspace, healing from my breakup without my ex knowing my whereabouts. One evening at 5 p.m., after grabbing takeout from a nearby Chinese spot, Lars called, asking to use the apartment for a shoot. His location fell through. He'd promised it'd be a one-time thing, asking me to stay in my room or leave until 1 a.m. I agreed, meeting him back home. He arrived with 2 friends, a petite woman and a heavier, balding man carrying equipment bags, both sharing Lars's reserved, artsy vibe. As they set up, Lars pulled me aside in my room, looking unusually serious. His project required immersion, and I wasn't to leave my room during the shoot, starting at 8 p.m. I planned to game or watch shows until 11 p.m., using noise-canceling headphones as he suggested. Curious, I asked if it was an adult film. He denied it, but warned I might hear disturbing sounds all simulated. Suspecting horror elements, I insisted no screaming. He again suggested I leave, but I stayed, trusting my headphones. At first I heard nothing, but an hour into gaming, faint sobbing turned into blood-curdling screams from the woman downstairs. Despite knowing it was acting, the screams unnerved me. I maxed my headphone volume, but later, her 14-minute begging, "Please no, God no," hit harder, stirring primal unease. Around 10:30 p.m., I showered, briefly hearing all three chanting, "Praise the Dark One," in eerie unison while drying my hair. Exhausted, I slept after 1 a.m. when it stopped. Days later, Lars explained it was ADR dubbing no harm done, just a talented actress. I secured a promise it wouldn't repeat without warning. 2 weeks later, he asked again, offering hotel payment. I opted to stay at a new date, S place, but forgot my laptop charger S plug. I called Lars en route, no answer. Texting I'd be quick, I arrived, knocked and entered after no response. Plastic sheeting covered the floors and walls like a crime scene setup. 2 masked men in black suits rushed me, slamming me down, ignoring my protests I lived there. A stun gun zapped my leg, paralyzing me. They yelled, "Intruder!" as an unseen voice ordered my removal. Dragged outside, I called the police, fearing something sinister. They arrived in 20 minutes, but the sheeting was gone. Lars claimed it was an exclusive party, security overreacted, and guests left via a back exit, embarrassed. He denied the sheeting, acting sincere for the cops, a stark contrast to his usual dryness. After they left, he turned cold, saying I shouldn't have returned and was lucky worse didn't happen, demanding I move out. I did, finding a new place fast, feeling unsafe. I never learned what happened, and the police lost interest. I'm glad to leave it unknown. A heated clash at a college game. College sports games have an electric vibe. The student section alone makes it worth attending. But some fans take it too far. A few years ago, at a college basketball game, I realized how dangerous that can be. The home crowd was wild, and in my section, mostly home fans, I chatted with a guy ahead of me, a rare away team supporter. We bantered lightly before tip-off. Late in the season, the game's stakes were high, and the crowd turned hostile toward the refs and opponents. I joined the chants, swept up in the mob mentality. Before halftime, a call sparked cheers, but my new friend got irate, tossing his hat down. Caught in the moment, I patted his shoulder, smugly saying, "Maybe you'll get better calls later." He jerked away, yelling, "Hands off!" I laughed it off, heading to grab a drink. In the concourse, he bumped me hard, sarcastically apologizing. Reeking of alcohol, I figured he was drunk and ignored him, but looking back, I see how quickly tensions can escalate. Close calls and fanatic furies, a nighttime stalker from the stands. My friends chuckled at the odd encounter, but I brushed it off as a sour drunk. The second half mirrored the first. My new acquaintance grumbled passive-aggressively, and I tuned him out, sensing his instability. Post-game, heading to my car, he trailed me, shouting in the crowded lot. Ignoring him was tough, but at my vehicle I turned, telling him to back off. He laughed, lingering as I drove away. Home after a 40-minute traffic slog, I unwound with Batman movies, hitting 2 a.m. Still awake, I started the third film when bright headlights flashed repeatedly, unusual on my quiet street, especially at that hour. After the third pass, I peeked out. Someone was at my car across the road, trying the locked door. Recognizing the basketball fan, I dialed 911. He moved to the house opposite, ramming the door, possibly mistaking it for mine. I noted a weapon in his waistband, chilling me. Police arrived fast, arresting the belligerent, likely drug-addled man who later recalled nothing. His intentions remain a mystery, and how he found me is unclear, perhaps a twisted turn from a normal guy. A violent volley from the sand. I played volleyball through school, joining an adult co-ed league post-graduation. At 21, a knee injury sidelined me a year. At 22, with reduced agility, I embraced the over 21 league despite its drinking vibe. For a decade, it was my life until last year's incident. Early season, we faced a team with 3 women and a man. The game was fun, with light trash talk. I spiked, met by the man who tipped it back, costing us a point. He complimented my try. Flashing a grin, we vibed briefly, though I likely overthought it. Post-game, he offered a drink. We declined, sandy and ready to leave. In the lot, packing up, a blonde woman from his team cleared her throat loudly behind me. She stared silently. I asked if she needed help, but she just watched as I drove off, her gaze unsettling. That night, restricted calls with breathing and offensive DMs from a fake profile annoyed me for days, stopping by day 4. Next game, at the bar, I saw him again. Waving as the blonde glared from behind, likely jealous. I avoided them. Calls resumed. I silenced my phone. Game night, anxious, I focused until a "watch out" rang out. A volleyball whizzed by, and she charged, smashing a bottle on my head, screaming. Teammates restrained her as she swung the shard. Police arrested her. EMTs tended my cut, needing stitches. The man apologized, saying she wasn't his girlfriend, just an obsessed teammate's friend who defabricated a relationship. Her instability was clear. I'm lucky it wasn't worse. I've quit volleyball, hoping she gets help. A misadventure at WrestleMania weekend. At 18 in 2013, I traveled with friends Tom and Jake to a New Jersey town near MetLife Stadium for WrestleMania, the wrestling Super Bowl. Huge fans. We planned a weekend of events, using the hotel's free shuttle. Saturday, Tom gave the driver a venue address. Despite a language barrier, we thought it was sorted. Dropped off, we realized we were in a dilapidated, sketchy area, busy, leaving us stranded. Too young to argue, we checked GPS 10 minutes drive, but pre-Uber walking felt risky. Naive, we explored, saddened by street dwellers. Mike noticed a follower matching our pace. We sped up. He ran after us. Mike and Tom outran him, but I stopped, confronting him a bad move. He tackled me, elbowing my eye black, stealing my wallet before fleeing. Tom and Mike helped me up. Police arrived, unhelpful, noting frequent muggings. Back at the hotel, a loud bang woke us. Someone jimmied our door, stopped by the latch. I slammed it shut. Tom called police, while Jake chased fruitlessly. I suspected my wallet's room key led them. The hotel moved us. That night, seeing a man in the lot, I alerted staff, but he vanished. Sunday's show was ruined by paranoia. Home Monday, they aided my ID replacement. I'm glad the latch saved us, maybe unrelated, but it felt like the worst night. An umpire's harrowing debut. 10 years ago, a sports enthusiast, I umpired a softball league as a college summer job, leveraging my baseball skills after a brief course. Hired quickly, my first game went smoothly until the final out, a close catch call. I ruled out. The head umpire called safe. Amid team protests, he overruled me, citing his angle. Advising a quick exit due to fan anger, we stuck with safe, sparking a field rush. Driving off, I heard shouts. Anxious by nature, I obsessed over the uproar. Errands, groceries. Then Barnes & Noble distracted me, though I felt watched, blaming anxiety. A rusty black truck with a cartoon sticker, parked too close, reappeared across the lot. Coincidence, I thought. Home, watching Clue. A loud car door slam jolted me twice. Peeking out, a truck blocked my drive. A man aimed something at my house. Ducking, I called police, hearing him yell about luck as he sped off. I videoed his plate matching the truck's sticker. Police confirmed paintballs and BBs, not bullets, easing me slightly. No follow-up came. I quit umpiring for casual play, curious if others faced fan madness. My boyfriend turned into a monster. 9 true scary stories from Reddit, trauma and narrow escapes. A violent outburst at home. At 19, I lived with my ex, Nathan, 27, in a 3-bedroom house with his Rottweiler, Max, and my cat, Luna. We'd recently kicked out a friend, Tara, for freeloading. Nathan returned from a month-long work trip, but that week, he was distant, forgetting conversations. lost in thought. Frustrated, I asked for help with chores. He ignored me, once suggesting I snap him out of it physically. 2 days before, we dined with his worried mom, who noticed his odd behavior. Nathan had diagnosed OCD, but I suspected more. That day, after grabbing takeout, we sat in the living room. I painted my nails. He played a racing game. He suddenly claimed Tara cursed his family. Struggling with my own BPD, I suggested a cold shower, which had helped before. He muttered, heading to the bathroom, but I felt uneasy. I offered to call his mom for dinner. He screamed I was all he needed. As I dialed, he emerged naked, yelling at Max to attack me, calling me Tara, blaming me for something. I ran to the bedroom, phone in hand, his mom on the line. He broke the door, slammed my head into the mirrored closet, smashed my phone, and screamed he'd kill me. I fled toward the front door. He grabbed me in the kitchen, choking me. Luna watched, terrified. Vision fading, I clawed at him as he asked if I knew unspeakable pain referencing my past assault. He threw me down, foot over my head, eyes lifeless, pupils dilated, yelling, "Admit it, Tara!" I apologized, escaping out the door in just a sweater and shorts, in freezing February weather in a cold Canadian province. I banged on neighbors' doors. Hearing Max's cries, I knew Nathan killed him. Neighbors helped. An elderly couple called police. I told my mom, in another province, Nathan killed Max and tried to kill me. Police arrived, armed, ordering Nathan out. He emerged naked, bloodied. They found Max dead in the bathtub, Nathan having killed him in the living room. They couldn't find Luna initially. I panicked, guiding them to her hiding spot. She was alive but terrified, on the bed, amidst blood and stench. I grabbed her and my vape, learning Nathan killed Max with a bat. His mom arrived, collapsing when I told her. I moved to my mom's with Luna. Nathan got 10 months house arrest after a 2-year case. He still contacts me. Blaming me, I partly blame myself. A drunk night's dangerous ride. In Tempe, Arizona, near a bar strip, I got wasted bar hopping with friends. I often wander off drunk, and that night, after an hour, I realized I was lost, phone dead. Thinking my friend's place was north, I walked unaware it was 8 miles away. At 2 a.m., a sedan blocked my path. A large, intimidating black man stared at me. Drunk, a suburban white guy waved, "Hey, what's up?" He looked confused, asking where I was going. I admitted I was lost, heading to a friend's. He told me to get in. I did, noticing his tattoos, thug attire, bandaged arm, and a pistol in his shorts. Unfazed, I chatted as he drove, learning he'd been shot. His girlfriend left him for gang life, and he was cruising to rob someone me. Yet, he wanted to rap, so I encouraged him. At my friend's, I invited him to smoke. My friends, already back, were shocked, seeing me with a gang member who'd considered robbing me. He placed his gun on a safe in the room, a strange gesture, but we smoked, bonding over music. He left peacefully, reflecting, with cash in that safe, kindness and weed might have saved us. A forest preserve nightmare. 10 years ago, I met my future husband's cousin, sharing struggles with addiction and anorexia. We talked, met for meals, but he kissed me once in his car. I stopped contact, confessing to my husband, who understood. I didn't mention the cousin's anger. Months later, we met as friends at a diner, but I ended it, feeling it unhealthy. He begged for one last meetup. I agreed. At dinner, he spoke of his job, apartment, and how happy he'd make me. Uncomfortable, I asked to go home. Late, he drove to a dark forest preserve, parking alone. He insisted we were meant to be. I reminded him I was engaged. He grew emotional, saying he loved me, then choked me, pressing my carotid artery. I passed out, waking to a cop at his window, vomit on my shirt, having wet myself. He claimed I was drunk, getting a ticket. Too scared to speak, fearing family blame, I asked to go home in front of the cop. He drove silently. I later told my husband, feeling guilty. I saw the cousin at holidays. He never spoke to me. That cop saved my life. a childhood stalker's shadow. At 7 or 8, after moving to a suburban U.S. neighborhood, I played with triplets down the street. My brother, 11, fetched me at night. One evening, as it darkened, he pushed me between houses, behind a fence, whispering someone was following us. I saw a man in a black hoodie, sweatpants, white sneakers, his jaw unnaturally open, horrifying my clear child's vision. Maybe a condition or drugs, but I thought demon. We ran home, locking the sliding door. He was in the yard, staring. We told our sister and Mom. Dad was away. Next day, at Dad's warehouse, police swarmed the yard. Dad, unaware of our incident, said they arrested a man and woman in a van. The man's jaw hung open. Charged with trespassing, details were vague. My brother, now a medical student, theorizes a condition, but in the safest neighborhood, his presence at Dad's work remains unexplained. High school notes turned creepy. In high school, I idolized senior Alyssa Gorgeous, confident, stylish. As a shy freshman, I never spoke to her. Senior year, I found notes in my locker during 4th period. "You looked stunning in that dress Friday," with a heart, and others like, "Your smile brightens the hall," or "Your homecoming pics are magazine-worthy." Sweet, not flirty, I thought a shy underclassman wrote them, keeping it private to avoid embarrassment. Second semester, I swapped lockers with a friend. On my 18th birthday, she found a note in my old locker. "Happy birthday, princess." Realizing the dates didn't match, she deduced they were mine. I admitted they'd been coming all year. My friends investigated, one staking out the lockers during 4th period. The notes were from a female janitor we recognized but never spoke to. She'd watched me for months, commenting on outfits, field hockey games, even my Facebook posts. I'd seen her at my last game, but never noticed her before. We didn't confront her. She'd done nothing illegal, but it felt deeply unsettling. A midnight assault at a secluded spot. In the rural Midwest, I know the back roads well. One, an old highway, has a secluded lot with picnic tables, a trash can, and woods perfect for teenage hangouts. 5 years ago, after a fight with my girlfriend over her loud party, I drove there to cool off, blasting metal music, smoking menthols. Alone, I sat on a table, stargazing, until rustling in the woods sent me back to my car. Blasting music again, I smoked another cigarette when a large hand pounded my passenger window, a man yelling, "Open the door!" My door's locked. He moved to my side, punching the glass. I in a black hoodie, gray shirt, ball cap, with a dark beard, he towered over my car. I reversed, his figure lit by headlights, and heard a bang, maybe a gun. I sped off at 90 on gravel, stopping at a friend's gas station. We found dents and a boot print on my door, but didn't call police, assuming the man was gone. I don't know his intent: robbery, carjacking, or worse, but I'm glad I escaped. A friendship's dark revelation. My husband and his childhood friend, Mark, were inseparable since elementary school. Mark seemed kind, trustworthy, nerdy like us, sharing interests in computers, retro games, and tech. We built PCs. He'd advise us. Oddly, he never dated, living with family, leading us to wonder if he was closeted, though we never asked. He moved 3 hours away to his sister's retirement home, then went distant: no calls, visits, or social media activity. Worried, I arranged a visit. His new place was messy, isolated. He declined a promotion, preferring to stay home. His room looked teenage cluttered with tech, clothes everywhere. He brushed off our questions about his absence, blaming the move, but his generic answers felt off. Contact remained sparse. I noticed he liked Nickelodeon shows online. Odd for a man in his late 30s. But I dismissed it. Years later, he moved back to his mom's, citing her health, but avoided meeting us. Then, on TV, we saw Mark in shackles, arrested in a child trafficking ring bust. Police found child exploitation material on his computers at both homes, collected since youth with DNA evidence. He got 30-plus years. His family disowned him. We cut ties, devastated. My husband grew paranoid, distrusting others, realizing we never truly knew Mark. A gas station coincidence. As a college student, I ran out of gas at dusk, coasting to a stop near a random house. With no one to call during winter break, I grabbed my gas can to walk to a station. A college-aged woman in a fast food uniform pulled into the driveway, hesitantly offering help. I explained my situation, showing the can. Offering to pay, she refused money, took it, and returned with gas. She paused, then asked if I wanted to hear something odd. That day at work, she got a prank call repeatedly asking, "Have you ever run out of gas?" We laughed awkwardly, parting ways, but the coincidence still chills me. A late-night gas station scare. 10 years ago, between Seattle and Tacoma, my friend Sam and I hit a karaoke bar in Tacoma. Around 1 a.m., heading back, we stopped for gas. Buzzed, I fiddled with the radio when my door flew open. A medium-height, tanned man with a blank stare, in tattered clothes and a torn black jacket, tried to pull it wider. I yanked it shut after a struggle, adrenaline pumping. Sam yelled at him to back off. Surprisingly, he did, walking away silently with that eerie stare. Sam, shaken, drove off as the man watched. I avoid night gas stations unless they're busy now.